Studying in Germany, 5 survival tips.
So this means I have to work on my beer drinking skills, right?
Yes, that's one of the things you should definitely do. Studying in Germany, 5 survival tips. Many people want to study in Germany because, for one thing, it's still free. So you can save a lot of money by going there and you get a first-class education. The problem is, you have to be aware of certain problems that you might encounter. Here's my 5 survival tips for studying in Germany. Tip number 1. Time goes by very slowly. When you get to Germany, you'll find out that time goes by very slowly.
Oh my god. 1 minute feels like a whole year. Maybe I could use that slow running time to focus on my studies though. I could read a lot of books.
Whenever I come back to Germany, I wake up super early. So it's like 6 o'clock in the morning. And then everything moves very slowly until I think it's almost time to go to bed. And then it's only 4 in the afternoon. This might be an individual problem, but whatever you need to get done also takes a very long time. The Germans say paper is patient. This means whenever you need a document to be signed or approved, you will have to consider that it takes a very long time. So my first tip is anything that can be taken care of before you get to Germany should be taken care of while you're still in your own country, because you can save yourself a lot of time and trouble, especially when it comes to German public servants who are not the most friendly people in the world, as we'll find out. Tip number 2. Learn German. Many people have asked me in the past, do I have to be able to speak German when I go to Germany? Yes, of course you have to.
I don't want to learn German. It's a very difficult language. I think using English is going to be no problem. It's going to be fine.
Although many Germans speak English, you'll find out that especially when you need documents to be approved or signed or any sort of certification from a government office, you'll need to be able to speak German because those public servants do not necessarily speak English.
In Deutschland wird Deutsch gesprochen.
I know this is kind of embarrassing for German public servants, but it is reality.
Geben Sie dieses Formular bitte innerhalb von 3 Minuten vollständig ausgefüllt zurück. Die Anlagen A, B und C füllen Sie separat aus. X, Y und Z haben nichts mit Ihrem Antrag zu tun.
So make sure to be able to speak German. Well, the thing is, if you want to study in Germany, usually you need a B2 certificate to get your foot in the door anyway before you can go there and get a visa. Then, if you want to study at a university, most universities, they raise their levels to C1 or C2. So if you can get a language certificate in your country, the best thing to do is go for a C2 level certificate. If you get this, everything will be fine and you don't have to spend a year in a German language school, spend a lot of money, waste a lot of time to study German there. Tip number 3, food. Germany is not really known for its nouvelle cuisine. Actually, Germans do not really care about food at all. Food is something that helps you maintain life functions. So the reality is like this: if you go to Germany, you'll eat a lot of bread because Germans believe in the 3 beers. It's bread, more bread, and nothing but bread. So if you don't like bread, get used to it because you'll eat a lot of it.
My throat's a bit dry from eating all that bread.
Here, have some liquid bread to flush down the bread.
Oh, no.
We eat bread in the morning for breakfast. At noon, there might be some warm meal, but in the evening for dinner, it's gonna be bread again. You might encounter the situation where a German asks you, do you want to come to my house for dinner? So that means, do you want to come to my house and eat bread? And maybe you'll think, well, this is kind of really bland to always eat bread. The problem is Germans do not care at all about what they eat. It's a different thing for drinking because drinking rather than eating is an important way of socializing for Germans. So drinking is more important than eating. And well, you might have guessed what people usually drink in Germany. It's indeed liquid bread. It's beer. So if you don't like beer, get used to it. German beer is pretty good. It might not be the best in the world, but it's okay. And it's cheap. So you can actually save a lot of money in Germany because these are the cheapest things there are. Tip number 4, whenever you have to apply for something for university, keep in mind that deadlines in Germany are God. So it doesn't matter what it is. A deadline is a deadline. It's written down, and whatever is written down is the law. So if it says September 30th, it's September 30th.
I don't think deadlines are that important. I mean, if I miss the deadline by 1 week, it's not going to be that bad now, is it?
There's no way of talking around it because Germans will not understand your point, because to their mind, whatever it says on that piece of paper is the law. So there is no arguing around it. If you are late 1 day or even like 5 minutes, it doesn't count. They will not take it. They will not approve it. So be sure to always meet the deadlines. This also means deadlines for homework assignments, deadlines for papers or exams, deadlines for papers that you have to write in your university seminars. Always meet the deadlines. Tip number 5, if you've made it through your basic courses and one day you think about going to graduate school, going for your master's degree, or even like a PhD, be aware of one fact. Your supervisor is like a demigod. He has all the power in the world and he can give you a really bad time. So pick your supervisor wisely. We are still using this vertical structure in Germany, which means that you have a supervisor and this supervisor is your boss. In some way, it's still like a traditional medieval apprenticeship. Your master tells you what to do and you just obey. You don't question him or her. You just do what they say. This also means if it comes to picking a supervisor, you should go for a professor with a very, very nice personality. Don't pick someone who's too old either, because if your supervisor for some reason has to drop out, you'll have a big problem because finding a new professor for your thesis is almost impossible.
I've been working on my PhD for 5 years now, and my supervisor just died. Now I have to look for a new supervisor. I have to start all over again. I'm going to be 50 when I'm done with my PhD.
So also don't pick a supervisor who's too young because they're still on their way up, which means they're probably preoccupied with their own career. So it's always good to go for someone who's probably around 50 years old, 50 to 60. That's a good margin. And if it comes to picking a supervisor, you also have to know that usually they like to know you before they allow you to be their student. That means usually you have to take a lot of their courses and seminars, and this takes years. So you'll spend a lot of time in university in Germany. If you want to have a fast and easy degree, do not go to Germany because it takes a lot of time.
So what you're saying is, if I want to go to Germany to study at a university, I have to know that things move very slowly, people move very slowly, and everything takes a long time. And I have to learn German, plus the food is not very good. I have to really get into eating bread all the time. Deadlines are very important. I cannot miss a single deadline. And I have to pick my supervisor wisely because if they die, I die. Man, all these things seem like a lot of trouble. I might reconsider studying in Germany. But it's still free, so maybe I'm just going to give it a try. And then, of course, there's always the drinking part.
So these are my 5 tips for surviving at a German university. Thanks for watching, see you next time, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel.